Welcome back.
Well, now we're back and the fun starts again.
Before we get started, we just want to let you know that we are having some technical difficulties, but once we get this up on the archive, you'll be able to watch the show clean and what have you. But we're sorry, but we're just having some problems tonight.
Oh, well, we
The way it
always
is.
have
We always have
problems.
some kind of problem. Usually it's on stage, not off
That's
stage.
right. That's right. The
Okay, so we're talking about E-stone, quartz.
correct. And this stuff is. I can remember when it first came out. I can't remember when it first came out because it's actually been out for a long time. But it really started to get its own legs back in the late '90s, right around the turn of the century.
About 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago, it really started to make an impact. Basically, what you have with quartz or E-stone, engineered stone, is it's composed of 93% quartz. And quartz, as Ken explained, is the hard part of granite. And in the quartz business, we use a term, when compared to granite, it's got more of the good stuff in it.
Okay.
93% quartz. The remaining 7% is going to be a blend of polyester resins, pigments, and some other minerals in there to give it the different colors that you have. One thing with the quartz products, unlike other man-made products, from brand to brand, there is no chemical difference. There is only one system for manufacturing quartz product, and Breton, an Italian company, is the only manufacturer of that equipment. Hence, that's it. Everybody's the same. Just the only difference comes down to colors and capacity of the manufacturer.
So whether I buy silestone, Caesar stone, Cambria, Zodiac, and we just keep throwing the names out there.
Right.
It really is the same animal.
Exactly.
It's just the difference is going to be texture and color.
And yeah, and also the particulate that's in it.
Well,
That's color texture.
right. That's your color.
Right.
That's
but
your
that's
quartz.
what's going to be the difference from one brand to another. They might have a particulate that you happen to like a little more.
Exactly.
But unlike solid surface material, where it goes from polyester blends with acrylics all the way to full acrylics, this is all the same formulation, no
Exactly.
matter who you buy it from.
The binder,
so it always
the binder
works
in
up
this,
the same.
binder in this is 100% polyester.
It's polyester, right. It is not an acrylic.
So the nice thing about that, as opposed to solid surface materials, is that when you're working with this material and you're polishing it out and what have you, it's the same procedure no matter whose product you're using, which makes it really nice because it's not like, well, polyester sands out different than acrylics or vice versa.
And what you're going to find, even the same with granite. Any of the fabricators, when you talk to them, they'll have a polisher. Each color has its own subtle nuances. And even within the quartz products.
New what?
Yeah.
Nuance. One of them fancy words.
This color is going to polish out a little different than this color. So again,
Okay.
that's where that artistic form that the fabricator has plays into it, how well he can get that edge polished. Again, the slabs come with the faces already polished. You're going to profile your edge and polish your edge. So really, you want to stay off of that face as much as possible. Rule of thumb, you don't want to touch that
Right.
That factory finish that's on the
Now,
face.
the E-stone comes in typically 2 cm or 3 cm, just like regular stone.
And as well as 1 centimeter for vertical applications and
Okay.
and tile. You use they cut tiles.
Now, is
out
the
of-
1 cm fiberglass backed, or is it fine without it? So,
It's fine
unlike
without-
thin stone, it's not necessarily.
Your flexural strength on because of the resin that's in there, the flexural strength on a slab of quartz is heads and shoulders above what you get with the natural stones.
Mark, if someone's using an E-stone product and let's say they go in and do a large countertop job, all right, and it's got several pieces, and obviously they're glued together, not seamless like solid surface is, but let's say they damage one of those pieces. With E-stone, is there a good chance that product's going to match if they slip another piece in there?
They're done in Dilot the same way solid surface is. So you want to do a repair with that another piece in there if you can get a slab from that same Dilot.
Okay.
But within that Dilot, again, because it is the quartz is the natural, so there is variation within each particulate of quartz, unlike solid surface. you don't have as near the control with the quartz products as you do with a solid surface, but from slab to slab, much more consistency than what you get with the
with
the
granite
stainless.
you'd have no
exactly.
no
Because
consistency. Okay.
I know quartz
All right.
as a mineral can vary slightly from a clear whitish, all the way to a pink tone. And of course, depending on almost kind of in some ways, when manufacturers use aluminum trihydrate as a filler, you can get subtle variations in the
Correct.
ATH. Quartz in this case is the filler,
Yes.
and you can get subtle variations in quartz. Once again, anywhere from a white clear to a pinkish tone,
Right.
and that would affect the color. So, hence the point you're making. It would be clear. It would be important to get the slab from the same run if you really want a good match.
Exactly.
Is this product manufactured like solid surface in forms and it's poured?
Exactly. Very, very similar. You take the particulate and it's put into a mixer. It's then blended. You add the resin to it. You blend the resin in, and it's poured then into a form. It then goes into a process called vibrocompression. Unlike solid
sounds pretty
surface, unlike solid surface where it's a vacuum, here instead of sucking all the air out, as in solid surface, you're squeezing all the air out.
Okay.
In this case, it then goes into a curing process after it's compressed, and then
Now, does it cure naturally, or is it like in an oven?
it's a chemical.
or-
Yes, it's an oven.
It's a-
It's a chemical
okay,
reaction that it
all
goes
right.
through. The resin has to go through its curing process.
Okay.
And then once it goes from there, it goes into the polishing lines, and from there, it's put into the racks, loaded on the ships, and shipped
goes.
where to its final destination.
Wow.
It's amazing. I see on the back of this, you can actually see marks from a grinder.
Yeah. Now, how does I know that we just got done writing an article that's on our website that talks about if a fabricator of solid surface wanted to transition to stone, and we've gone in depth on that article about what tools and what have you are needed. But let's take we've got a few minutes left, and I'd like to kind of cover how it's different from solid surface. I mean, when if you have a solid surface shop, the truck pulls up, you got a couple of guys, you start sliding the sheets off, everybody puts their jock straps on, and they start hauling sheets inside. You can't do that with this stuff at all, right?
Correct. I mean, because of the weight, you're going to see different manufacturers have manufacture different size slabs.
Traditionally, what size slabs are available?
The most common size now is 55 by 120. There are some
Okay.
manufacturers that manufacture smaller slabs than that, and then you have some that manufacture 2 or 3 different size slabs, larger than the 55 by 120. But that's pretty much the benchmark size, is that 55
So you're
by
talking
120.
between 500 and 700 pounds a sheet.
Depending on the thickness, whether it's
Right.
a 2 centimeter versus a 3 centimeter thickness. But anywhere in that range, from 5 to 900 pounds.
Okay.
So in handling this, it's pretty safe to assume you're going to use a forklift.
Absolutely, forklift
Okay.
or some type of an
Except
overhead crane
an
system.
overhead crane. Okay.
Exactly.
Now, actually, before we wander too far down this path, I wanted to hit one more thing while we're still talking about materials. I wanted to touch briefly on concrete, which is actually becoming.
He wants to talk concrete.
Well,
He has to get concrete in there.
It's
you
one.
know?
It's
okay.
But it's one of those. It's one of those specialized products.
It's an artsy thing. you
It
know?
is. It is. But we
Designer
thought it was an artsy
yes.
thing that would go away 10 years ago, and it's still
Yeah,
growing.
no, it's coming. It actually is becoming more popular. Kitchen and
Yes.
Bath Show showed a lot of concrete, but basically a lot of the same tooling. Well, actually, not the
Well,
same
no. The
tooling
point
is
is,
used
it's
for
very
concrete.
close.
It's
Though.
very
The tooling
yeah.
is close. You're still going to use the grinders,
Right.
With
Diamond.
kind of a diamond rough polishing wheel to grind it down and smooth it out.
But that's all poured.
Correct.
You don't buy slabs of concrete and make a countertop.
No, it's formed.
Yeah, you're going to go out to the customer's home, you're going to make a template, you're going to make a mold, and you're going to pour the concrete, correct?
Correct.
And
Now-
you custom color it.
You custom
You
color
add
it.
custom
You can put glass, you can do all kinds of neat things with it.
almost anything from shells to glass to rocks.
And is it basically Portland cement? I mean, is it actually like concrete
It
concrete?
is.
It is
It's
concrete.
Okay, does it have fiberglass in it at all, stranded or anything like
I'm
that?
sure there
you
might be
can,
some
yeah,
people
you
that are
can
doing that. Yeah.
Just,
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's stranded. But some of the things to really bear in mind, and I didn't really want to get into depth about concrete,
Then don't.
But a couple things to point out. It's something you have to seal frequently because
Yes.
it's extremely porous.
Yes, definitely.
And the maintenance on it and repairability is very high and or negligible as far as being able to repair it. Because
Right.
once you've got it, you've got it, and you can't really match it well.
Right.
But it's its own thing. And of course, its handling is completely different. So going back to...
Are you happy now?
I am. I'm
You
very
happy now? You got your concrete in there.
Can I have an
Okay.
ice cream? That
All
would
right.
make me very
Yeah,
happy.
probably would. Okay, back to handling. So let's just go through this briefly. The truck pulls up, and let's say you're a small shop. So
Do you
you're
have your
probably
jocks on yet?
Yeah, you don't have your jocks on, but you don't need it because you got a forklift now.
Okay.
You got a big tow motor, and you got the union guy driving the tow motor. Anyway, but you're going to come out and you've got there's a boom
Forklift with a boom.
with a boom on
with
it,
a clamp.
with a clamp on it.
It's a rubber clamp where it
Abaco.
An
squeezes
Abaco
it.
lifter.
Right, and
Exactly.
that actually comes down, picks it up like this, and the more weight it pulls on it, the harder it pulls on it to pick it up.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's going to take it into a cut table to break it down into size, correct? For
Correct.
most small shops.
You're gonna lay it up on the table, and then first you're gonna cut your slab into the different sizes.
To make up your countertop.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then you're gonna move it over.
Now let's back up a second. You're going to cut that with a diamond saw and a ton of water.
Yes.
Okay. Now when we talk about water, depending on the area you're at, do you have to recover the water, or is this water that you can just dump out in the ditch and let it go?
You can never dump the water.
They do it in China.
Well, here in the EPA will not
They do a
allow
lot of
you-
it in
Yeah, that's right.
Georgia.
Oh, hey. I didn't see that.
So you have a recovery
It's like
tank?
anything, legally you're not supposed to. You can't
Oh,
dump.
legal-
You can't,
well,
legally, you
legally,
can't dump
okay,
the water.
all right.
So you're going to need some type of a recovery system.
Okay.
There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can trench it. A lot of shops go ahead and literally dig trenches in the concrete, and the drains run and it drains it off. Others build dams and work inside those dammed up
That
areas.
I've seen. They've had big areas that are dammed up.
Exactly.
But then what do? They just let the sediment go down, and then they just pump the water off the top?
Pump the water off, and then your dust.
And then you're
again,
left to shovel it up.
It's dust. You can shovel it up. It's inert. So most, again, depending on what your local codes are,
Okay.
most places can send it just to the landfill because it's
So
dirt.
can you pump that like into, for the purpose of conversation, a garbage can, and you have a hose going into the top of it, or actually into the bottom and one out the top, so that the
It
the clean
and
water
again,
goes out the top?
depending on what the regulations are, and those codes are going to vary from area
Okay.
to area. But you can't dump any, even though it's dirt.
Yeah, that's why I can't understand. It's
But
just
you
dirt.
can't, but even though
construction
dust
debris.
is still. That's
Okay.
why when you drive by a construction
So
site,
you would
they
have to
keep
talk
the
to your
dust down.
local,
Your local
guys and-
DEP
Okay.
is who you would probably have
as
to do.
much as you
or-
hate to have them guys come out, but
Exactly.
okay, all right. So you're using a diamond saw, and you're using not a circular saw. I mean, you're not talking about just a skill saw, are you?
No.
Most guys use
not
like
not
a-
when you're cutting slab. No.
Okay, so like they use like the track saw that is
Track saw,
available.
or the more
Okay.
expensive. Again, you get into the
Get
more
beam
elaborate
saws,
shops.
one
Right.
jets.
Exactly.
Okay, but again, we're talking small
So
shop.
from a small standpoint, exactly, just
Okay.
a small saw to be able to do your cutting of your slab.
Okay.
Then you're going to move it over onto your work tables, and at that point, you're going to start profiling your edges,
Okay.
and from there, you go to your hand grinders.
And profiling's done with a grinder in a series of steps. And what do they call that?
No, that's actually done with shaping wheels.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, they're okay.
And
I'm
that's-
sorry, they're wheels, but they're on a grinder on a base.
Well, actually, on either on a router, profiling router,
Okay.
or on a CNC.
Correct.
And those
Okay.
are typically steps 1 through 7.
Or edge machines. There's all
Yeah,
kinds
but what
of
do they
different.
call those steps? They're not steps.
Profiling
They're
wheels, and they're
no,
called
no,
stage
segments.
stages. Okay,
Yeah.
stages. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
stages.
I knew there was a special name for it.
Yeah.
So they're going to go through all of those stages to get their finished edge, and typically when you go to install, as far as doing a seam, how are you going to do the seam on that? Is that with a silicone
there's
or
several. Well, you're going to use typically in the stone or the granite industry. They've always used different adhesives. I guess technically you could use a silicone. The most common is a polyester resin that you color. You can either buy it pre-colored, or you can right on the spot color it. You then catalyze it put it in between the seam, and then pull it together. You can use a clamping system.
Can you use solid surface adhesive?
You can. Typically, you'd find it more used on the E-stone
quartz, okay.
than you would with the granites, but I do believe now that there are some of the acrylic adhesive manufacturers that are manufacturing an adhesive, an acrylic adhesive that they're using with the granites as well.
Because with adhesive with stone, it's not so much like solid surface where you're truly bonding them together.
It's a mechanical bond.
It's a mechanical seal. I know we're really close to running out of time here tonight.
Right.
I know
we were going to try to break one of these, weren't we?
Yes, we still are. We're gonna. But first, I want to say hi to. Mary.
Mary,
Hannah
yes. Hi,
Titus.
Mary. Yes.
And that's Mark's daughter and wife.
Yep. And a good friend of mine I saw this
right.
afternoon, maybe watching tonight, Steve Doty. Hello to Steve.
And to everybody that I should say hi to, hi. And
that's right.
There we go.
Okay, so let's see if we can break this.
We have this sledgehammer.
I will not take part in this.
You ready?
No, we're just gonna. What's that, Chris?
Oh, is it time?
Gosh, we're running out of time.
All right.
Well, next week we won't, or next show in 2 weeks we won't be here live. We'll be broadcasting our trip to Elberton, Georgia.
That's right.
So make sure you watch that pre-recorded segment, and I'll edit it down. But still, nonetheless, interesting and learning about this industry stone,
right,
which is not that hard to get into. I'm really amazed.
Right. We think everybody can do it.
Yeah, and I think for most shops, as Mark was pointing out earlier, it's either you become a countertop shop,
exactly,
which supplies granite, quartz, natural stone. You really need to
concrete.
Supply all of those.
Concrete.
You need to supply all of those if you want to be in the game.
Okay.
So we're gonna keep going that direction and help you get there too. And so until we see you 2 weeks.
Right. Again. Thanks a lot, and thanks for being here, Mark.
Right.
All right. Thank
you.
you.
Okay, that went pretty good, actually.